Network, the show that's excited that the playoffs are finally here. And by finally here, I just mean tomorrow, and it's the play-in. But still,
yes.
But it's
playoffs are here.
Must-win basketball. How about that?
Yes. When are we doing our playoff predictions?
Friday.
Are we doing
Once the field is set. Okay. Yeah, because once the bracket's set.
I'm torn.
Right. Oh, no, you're not.
I'm torn.
You're not torn.
I am.
You're allowed.
My heart and my head are going all
Drew,
different
unlike
ways.
your MVP vote where you are correctly adherent to the history and your ethics and all of that.
Yeah.
Predictions is predictions.
Just predictions.
You can just go with the heart wants
being
what
right.
the heart wants, bro.
The public expects me to be right, too.
You can go with Wemby. You want to go with Wemby.
If you don't go with Wemby, somebody here is.
See, you just wait to take them.
Starting at the end of the regular season. The bracket is set. The play-in starts tomorrow. Lots of absences as teams either jockeyed for a position or just straight up rested as they prepared for the playoffs. Headline from Friday from ESPN, April 10th, 2026. NBA's Friday slate sees at least 168 out with injury or
You know that's more than a starting five for every team in the league. There's 150 starters
that's
in the
great math, Drew. That's correct.
Yeah. You hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
No, I did not. That was pretty good.
I mean, look, that's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, you were fired up about this, that it hit the group chat.
It did.
You're like, I've got A1 on Monday.
No,
All
no,
right.
well,
What'd you make of the
listen,
final weekend?
I'm thrilled the playoffs are here, and we try, to take on Wild's motto on this show of loving sport.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? We don't wave the pom-poms for anyone, but we kind of do for
a lot
sport.
of pom-pom waving.
And so I don't want to be overly negative long term, but there is something I want to say about this because I am from, as you guys know, Kansas City, Missouri. There is no NBA team. There isn't even one close. Denver or Chicago are the two closest when I was growing up.
Denver?
Wow, how close is Denver?
9-hour drive.
That's
straight across
really?
Kansas. I mean, or Chicago might be the next closest. Point is this.
How far away is Indiana?
The further than Chicago.
but further than Denver?
Okay, can we?
Denver feels very far away.
The point is this.
Denver hit me hard.
Okay,
You said
I
Denver.
drove to Denver once as a kid, straight across
Really?
Kansas. Brutal. Not the point, guys.
He hates Kansas.
Why you ripping
Just a
Kansas
boring
all the
drive.
time?
It's just flat and weak.
Well,
for
that's
9
the
hours.
Midwest.
All right,
Not hungry, are
let
you?
me get to this. So, yet, despite that, growing up, more than the Chiefs, more than the Royals, more than football or baseball, my favorite sport was the NBA. Mm-hmm. And I think it was because of a moment I had when I was 8 years old, when my mom told me, I think it's like my big Christmas present or something, that she was taking me to New York to see Michael Jordan take on the New York Knicks.
Oh, nice.
In the final game of that regular season. And when I have told this story in the past, in my mind, that game was deciding who had home court advantage. But I fact-checked my own memory. Here were the Eastern Conference standings going in to game 82 of that season. What you will see is the Bulls were totally locked in 2, and the Knicks were totally locked in 1. And even for finals purposes, that game meant nothing. And Patrick Ewing played 40 minutes, and Michael Jordan played 38 for the 2-time defending champions. And I, an 8-year-old boy from the Midwest, fell in love with professional basketball. And what happened this weekend is a farce. And it's a joke, and all of the stakeholders, owners, commissioner, players, all need to come together and recognize this doesn't happen in any other sport, and this is fraying away at the credibility of the league. And it is fraying away at future fans at a time when the youth attention economy is harder to come by than ever before. Mm-hmm. And everyone's got to do better on it. And so, again, I don't want to be super negative, and I'm happy about the playoffs. But this really, really irritated me that this is how the season came to a whimpering end.
No, I agree with a lot of what you said. That's a great story. It does happen in football. That last game, if
last
you're
game.
already in, that's why adding an 18th game, we know it's just for money, but why? Because the stars aren't playing if you're already in the playoffs. But it's not just this weekend, though. It's like the entire season, all right? And the reason 168 guys were out with either injury or rest, let's just call it what it wasn't just the teams that are about to go on a long, hopefully for them, long playoff run. It was the tankers, too, some of the tankers.
Yes.
Some of those where you're still in a fight for the worst record, some of those teams sat guys. Utah, who got blasted by the Lakers yesterday, I'm convinced they would have sent Danny Ainge out to start point with his son Austin at the 2 if it meant losing to the Lakers. I mean, they were going to lose that game no matter what. But look, I'm going to be fair, and you have said this before. I think the whole sports landscape, at least in the NBA, has changed to the point where most people didn't look at it like you. Most people are like, we're kind of used to it. We don't expect, if you're in the OKC, of course they rested guys, and that's some of that I will take on as the media a little. I don't think it's all of the media or most of the media, but we have put so much of an emphasis on the championships and the playoffs. It's like if you have, no matter what you do in the regular season, if you don't follow it up by winning a championship or doing something spectacular in the playoffs, we tend to dismiss your regular season. So teams and players have somewhat said, you know what, it's just about the playoffs. If indeed Philadelphia was like, we're going to sit Joel Embiid until March and then make sure he can play for the playoffs, if they took that tack, that would be, a response to this. So maybe a little's on the media and our emphasis, but the players and the franchises too. Look, I think it's a travesty if indeed Giannis Antetokounmpo could play. It's a travesty that the Milwaukee Bucks did not let him play, because you weren't giving those fans who went to the last, 12 home games and didn't get to see Giannis, even though he was saying he could play. You didn't give them discounts or refunds on those tickets.
Thanasis was out there.
Right. That's
like an understudy.
That was enough.
Tonight, you do get to see it on
Look, I agree with you, Nick. The league has to figure this out, because the fans are eventually going to be like, I'm not going to go to the game if so-and-so is not playing, if I know so-and-so is not playing, and that will hit the bottom line of the league. Let me finally say this about the 82 games and all that, because, there's all types of theories out there. They can't play 82 now because, they run too much in the pace. I don't think, we all know teams don't practice anymore during the regular season. Training camps aren't close to what they used to be when teams went 2-a-days and things like that. I honestly don't think they're getting players in the shape to even play 82 games. I don't think they even shoot for that. And you got to practice enough and build up the resistance so your body can handle certain things. The more you build it up, the more it can handle. So I think that's something that these teams need to look at. But it is a problem that they have to get fixed, but not just the last weekend. It's throughout the season.
Can I play devil's advocate on 2 points that we discussed all year, just because I knew you guys were going to come in hot? I'm like, let me try to play the counterpoint about the tanking teams in Utah. OKC tanked for a few years and just gathered assets, and now they're on the verge of a dynasty. Spurs won 22 games and drafted Wemby. The Pistons won 20 games and drafted Cade. So we've seen teams not just be bad, but be a little extra bad and immediately turn their franchises around and be the number 1 seed. Celtics haven't. The Celtics just traded away everybody, and luckily the Nets were so bad.
They tried. Patino,
but Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're still sort of reaping the benefits from that. So that's one. Unfortunately, tanking does work.
No, but that's why that's started. That's why it's incumbent upon the league to change the incentive structure.
Yes.
Under the current structure, you get what you incentivize, and they have incentivized.
Yes.
Right.
And this is going to be directly against you guys. When we're in the regular season, it sure does feel like the regular season matters. But I would rather have guys rested, healthy, and ready to go, and have a healthy playoffs,
But I have
where
no
we
evidence
get where
that
we get a
one leads to
champion. Well, maybe not, but if we could have a healthy playoff and get a champion that is indicative of the best teams going, not like we had last year where guys were going out and all of a sudden it's a lot of battlefield promotions. Like, you actually won because this guy was out and the injuries were a part of the story. I would rather have a healthy, all the stars in football, which the NFL has been very good at. We usually are seeing all of our superstars in the playoffs, so you finally get a Super Bowl with real stars. I would rather have that, and if we have to take a few games off, so be it.
So two things just quickly. One is I just haven't seen the evidence that since guys are playing less and they're more careful in load management, that we are getting healthier playoffs.
Right. Last year wasn't.
A bunch of, and so it doesn't feel like we're getting that. But the other thing that happened this weekend, and this is the other thing we were texting about, is teams at the end of the year potentially wanting, I'm not talking about the tankers, wanting to lose games for better playoff matchups, which gets me back to my old hobby horse of, if you really want the regular season to matter, extra incentivizing excellent regular seasons by giving the number 1 seed, you get to pick who you play in round 1. The number 2 seed picks from the remaining teams, and the number 3 seed then picks from the remaining teams. You are then, you wouldn't ever worry about the weird thing we're going to talk about in a second where Spurs are playing the Nuggets. Like, do they both want to lose the game? Like, who is a loss better for it as far as that goes? And I know, Brew, I saw your face. You've never liked this idea. So I know a lot of people don't. I just want to find more way. If we think the genie's out of the bottle on what everyone cares about is the postseason, then finding more ways to have the regular season truly impact your postseason.
There should be no rewards for losing.
But you're still facing, if you're the 1 seed, you're still facing an 8th seed. Like, you should win, whether you get to choose them or not. You should be able to beat that 8th seed. I get it. There are some instances throughout history. Golden State, Dallas, when Dirk won MVP, they probably wouldn't have picked Golden State to play because they had beaten them in the regular season. But I don't feel like that's the answer. But I tell you what, throughout the season, it felt like 2 out of every 3 big games I wanted. Oh wow, the Lakers and the Spurs are playing. It felt like 2 out of every 3 of those types of games, some star was missing.
Well, this was Wild said before the show. We have these playoff matchups, and it's like, oh, how did this team do against that team in the regular season?
It's almost irrelevant.
And for a lot of it, it's like, well, that's meaningless because how often were those 2 teams actually at full strength when they played?
Absolutely.
All right, speaking up, Denver's win over the Spurs locked up the 3 seed. Joker played a half. Wemby didn't play at all. Spurs at the 2, but now have to face Denver again. San Antonio has 4 losses since the beginning of February, 3 to Denver. So how damaging was this loss to the Spurs title champion?
Well, first of all, let me address this. It certainly wasn't damaging in Wemby's MVP case. My goodness. The rest of the Spurs starters couldn't even beat the Nuggets G League team without Wemby. So, no, but seriously, look, it was damaging. I mean, because I texted you guys like, oh, man, it's actually lining up. Denver's going to play Jokic 17 minutes, whatever, and then none of their starters. And the Spurs should be able to win this game and avoid Denver in the second round. Obviously, that didn't happen. I think the Spurs looked at that like, we got all our starters essentially playing outside of Wemby. I think they should have played Cornette. I don't know what his health situation is, but because maybe he would have been the difference because they didn't play him either, Luke Cornette. But I think the starters went out there feeling like we're going to win this game.
They were 11-point favorites.
Yeah.
Everybody thought they were going to win the game.
So you take it easy, and then this other team, those guys are out there with something to prove. I mean, they might go to different teams next year. They got something, impress some GM from another team or the Nuggets. So they play with heart. Next thing you know, Spurs are in the game, and they can't get it going, and Denver's rolling. I don't think Denver, though, because a lot of people, the thought is, okay, Denver was trying to avoid OKC.
Yes.
Right.
But not really, though, because
or
the thing
avoid
is,
San Antonio.
It's weird because Denver, by winning, they avoid OKC,
Right.
but they didn't play any of their guys, so it didn't
The
seem like
thought was
they
that they
wanted to
wanted
win.
right, that they were going to lose.
And then would have played OKC.
Yeah, I don't look. I think Denver. I think their thought process is let's get healthy. Let's just make sure we're healthy. Obviously, with Aaron Gordon, you know, with Peyton Watson, who's not even back yet, they got hamstrings injuries. Those are gingerly. So I think they just wanted to get healthy, and they took it as if we win, we win, and we end up playing who we play. If we lose, because they got to beat OKC or Denver or San Antonio either way, and they're a team that's won a championship already. So they're not like, oh, let's just get to the conference finals or whatever. They got to go through those teams either way. So, but yeah, bottom line is it took a hit. I would have much rather San Antonio play the Lakers, banged up Lakers in the second round.
Listen, I think for Denver, it doesn't actually matter that much because of your point. Whether Denver was 3 or 4, it just changes the order in which you probably have to play OKC and San Antonio. Denver probably is going to have to beat both of them to make the finals anyway. But I think this is a borderline catastrophe for the Spurs.
Oh.
And I think them not playing Wemby was a catastrophic mistake.
Now, don't you think I think that those ribs are still sore. So I think they were like,
sore,
look, let's just try to get them fully healthy.
I think they're still sore. I think that if he needed one more game to be eligible, he would have played. And I think, listen, we said we're going to do our picks on Friday. I think the Nuggets are going to beat the Spurs. And I think that had the Spurs taken the final game as seriously as I think they should have, they would have been set up brilliantly. They would have been set up to, in round 2, take on probably the Timberwolves. You know what I mean? You said the Lakers, but I mean, because round 2, they play the winner of Lakers-Timberwolves. And the Nuggets and Thunder are playing each other in round 2, beating each other up, and then the Spurs, take on one of them and whomever's left. Now you get a Nuggets team that has the best player in the world, has confidence against you, is playing the best basketball as a team it's played in a couple of years, is as healthy as they've been in a couple of years. And I just think it is a huge error. And I am really surprised that the way Wemby and the Spurs attacked this final week. Like they seemed so laser focused on we can win the championship. And then I think, to me, kind of eye off the ball at the last moment. And I think this is a huge deal. I think them having to play Denver in round 2 is a huge deal.
This is my theory on the Spurs. Now, I could be totally wrong. Obviously, Wemby is going for the championship, and their players are, and I'm sure Mitch Johnson. And I think the organization wants to win. But I also think they feel like, and I felt this way all season, watching them play, I feel like they're like, look, we're way ahead of the schedule we thought we were on.
Yeah.
Even if they need to win the first round, obviously. But if they lose to Denver in the second round, I feel like their organization is looking at this like, sure, if we win it, great. But whatever happens in these playoffs, it just gives us more evidence of what we need to do. We're way ahead of schedule, so now we're going to find out what do we need to improve, who do we keep, who do we get rid of, where do we need to play through Wemby more on offense, whatever it is. That's how I feel they're looking at it, and I agree with you. I don't think they should be looking at it that way. I think they should be like, we can win it now. And again, I know the players feel that way. Right.
This can be your moment.
I
but
think
if they
that's
all
unwritten,
subscribe to,
unspoken.
we need to take our lumps, and this is probably our take our lumps year, get some, playoff scars and calluses, if you will. Don't you like?
I think
what we are
behind
preaching.
closed doors, that's what their coaches and front office people talk about. But I think the players they should be going for it, because you never know what's going to happen.
This is not, to me, like at all controversial. They didn't play their best player, and now a team that I believe has their number is staring at them in round 2.
I agree with them not playing Wemby, assuming he's still sore with the ribs.
He played Friday to become eligible.
But they
need
just like Jokic played to become like you should have played him to be eligible. But my point is this, Nick. I'm still trotting out there Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox.
They should have won anyway.
We should win anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what they thought. So that's shame on them for losing that game.
All right, Spurs take on the winner of Suns Blazers in the play-in. We're headed to Augusta. We're on 18 with the leader, Rory McIlroy. This drive goes full Henry David Thoreau in the woods. But Rory emerges, and this putt wins him his second consecutive Masters. He joins an esteemed list of golfing legends, Nicholas, Faldo, Tiger Woods, and now Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
What does this back-to-back win mean for Rory, Nick?
Well done,
Listen, I feel like for my entire adult life, folks have been promising us this next young golfer is the next guy. Whether it was Dustin Johnson or briefly Bubba Watson, Jordan Spieth had his moment, Justin Thomas, I feel like Scotty Scheffler's maybe having it or had it, Bryson, sure.
Oh, yeah.
It was always going to be Rory. It was Rory. It is Rory. And now, these are the things Rory McIlroy can say. He's the greatest European golfer ever. He's the only Gary player is better than him as far as non-American golfers, with respect to old Tom Morris Jr. and Sr. from 150 years ago.
Senior.
We know the career Grand Slam, how brief of a list that is. It's those 6 guys. Rory, the only one other than Tiger to do it in the last half century. And here that's the full list of guys in the last 70 years with as many majors or more than Rory McIlroy. Nicklaus, Tiger, Gary Player, Kansas City's Tom Watson, Arnold Palmer. That's the full list of guys with more majors, again, in basically modern golf, than Rory. I believe he is the greatest golfer this century other than Tiger Woods. I think he's better than Phil Mickelson. And the fact that he won 4 majors immediately, went a decade without winning them, and now has peeled these 2. He's only 36. He can keep climbing it. He'll always be good at this course. He is truly one of the greatest golfers of all time, and I believe the second greatest golfer of this century to Tiger.
So you're saying
second best to Tiger.
Is it fair to say he's taken
30 some odd years
the torch from Tiger?
I mean, listen, Tiger was such a force of nature and was so otherworldly. I don't think anybody is going, but it's not outrageous to say this guy is going to finish. Can we throw up that most majors thing again, just quickly, and then I'll give it to you, Brew? It's not crazy to say he could finish with the 3rd most majors ever. He could get to
Arnold
9.
Palmer,
Yeah, I mean, he's at 6.
Well, and the thing is, look, like you said, he won a lot of majors early.
Yes.
And then went on that decade-long drought.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say, because we all remember the commercials with Tiger. Like you said, he was supposed to be the next Tiger or the closest thing to Tiger coming out. And then he won early and then went on this drought. I can't say he was a disappointment because he had won the majors earlier, but it felt like he wasn't the guy that we thought he was going to be. And now, all of a sudden, he's rolling. Last year's Masters, this year's Masters, and he's only 36. So like you said, he might go on a run and get to this, 9 majors or more. I agree he's the best European golfer, too. Nick Faldo obviously has 6 majors as well.
Seve Ballesteros
but he doesn't have
5.
as many PGA Tour wins, even close. Faldo's only got 9 PGA Tour wins. And
listen, Rory has spent 122 weeks as the world's #1 golfer. He's a 5-time Player of the Year. He's a 3-time FedEx Cup champion. So even that decade when he wasn't winning majors, he was winning a bunch of stuff. He just wasn't winning majors. Now, he got over the hump last year at Augusta, and I think had he not done that, I mean, he blew a 6-shot lead in 2.5 hours on Saturday and overcame that. It's just, I mean, he truly is one of the best ever at what he does, and he's now won everything.
Rockets the 5, Lakers the 4. Lake Show won 2 or 3 from Houston, but no Luka, no Austin Reeves in these meetings. Means this is a LeBron KD battle. Here are the Rockets' ranks. In the last 10 games, they are hot. Previous 20 games, they were just fine, but they're 9-1 in the last 10. Rockets are heavy favorites here. Are you surprised, Brew?
Huge favorite.
KD is such a favorite over LeBron.
No. These teams right now, with the Lakers being in the situation they are with the injuries, it's so lopsided, the talent difference. Like, if you had a draft of players outside of LeBron, the top 5, maybe 6, I mean, Kevin Durant, Şengün, Amin Thompson, Jabari Smith, Reed Shepherd might all go before the next Laker. And then I think Ime Udoka is a better coach than J.J. Redick. I think both are good, but I think I take Ime. But, you know.
Ime certainly has
it's
accomplished
arguable.
more.
Right.
I think this year, JJ did a better job than Ime.
Yeah, you can go with that. But I think Ime has a little advantage there. So shame on the Rockets if they don't take the Lakers out. In fact, with the talk, you know, can Luka get back for a game 6 or something? If you're the Rockets, this should not go 6. This should go no more than 5 games with the Lakers currently constituted as they are, because LeBron may be great in this series, but he's to a large degree by himself. And he's not going to be able to defend like he had been over the past month because he's exhibiting so much energy on offense. Amin Thompson is a great defender. You might put him on him with all his length. Like, there is just no reason for the Rockets to lose this series. And if they do, like I said, shame on Kevin Durant, Ime Udoka, and the whole Rocket staff.
So, yeah, this line says Vegas does not have any of the optimism that I do about a triumphant Luka return. That if there was minus 750 is a massive favorite. And it's interesting because that they're only, if you will, and I know it's in LA, 4.5-point favorites in game 1. So, like, you know, it's on the board, obviously. The Lakers win game 1 according to Vegas, but it's not on the board at all that they win the series. I am not picking the Lakers to win this series begrudgingly. I wish I could. I will be rooting for the Lakers, and I'm very excited to see how far LeBron can pull this. And I reserve the right,
Of course.
to change my mind if Luka comes back.
Or even if the Lakers win game 1.
No,
You were always
If they
like
win
that.
game 1, you're definitely going to think they're going to win the series.
But I mean, so with that said, the path to a Lakers victory is they obviously, and you don't usually put it this way, but have to get a split at home in the first 2 games, and they have to hope that one of those games in Houston, the Rockets' late game woes that we have seen all year long, and the Lakers, who, again, it's very hard to look at any Lakers stuff and be like, they've been great at this when this isn't the team they've been. But I do think a lot of the Lakers' late game excellence is LeBron.
Well, and they're number 1 in the clutch.
Right. And so, but again, how much of that is Luka and Austin, and they're gone. But that if it's close late, that there's a lot of, the Rockets don't have a point guard, Kevin Durant turnovers, and LeBron doing good late game stuff. I know the Rockets' numbers are that of an excellent offensive team. I think a lot of that is buttressed by early in the year when they were such a great offensive rebounding team.
Right.
It made their offense
Steven Adams,
look better than it actually was. But even though I don't think they're a great offensive team, I think they will look like a great offensive team against this Lakers team, because I know it's weird to be like, losing Luka and AR kills the Lakers defense, but it does because of the role change for LeBron. And I personally think one of the reasons Luka's defense is too often maligned is I think other teams' offense gets worse to some degree by how much he exhausts their players when he's on offense. And, the Lakers just become easier to defend without those guys, which means the other team's going to be able to execute better on offense. So, to me, this is not about KD versus LeBron.
No.
This is about, I think that LeBron is demonstrating, even though KD's going to be on all NBA teams, LeBron had the worst statistical year of his career. I think LeBron's been demonstrating since Luka went out, he could still put up stats like KD is. It's just not his role with the team and had not been his role with the team.
Lost to the Mavs, beat the Warriors, beat the Jazz. Are you thinking sweep, gentleman's sweep? I think LeBron's going to put up numbers, but I don't know.
I think the Rockets win in 6.
6?
6 is,
but you're right there on the verge.
6 is not always
6
close.
Maybe Luka could be better.
Listen, Luka gets back from Spain tomorrow, and so will be reevaluated. Will be reevaluated by the Lakers tomorrow. LeBron also, Brew, those last 3 games prior to the Utah game, he had not had a 3-game stretch with that many points and assists, but both basically 28 and 13 a night is what he was averaging since the Lakers championship season. He had not had a stretch of that high volume scoring and assisting simultaneously in 6 years. So it seemed like he did also kind of time his playoff ramp up as far as his body, but the team's just not there.
Or just in pencil. What are you thinking in this series? Not predictions week.
5.
You cannot put on a tuxedo and play the piano. You said to start the year you were going to be rooting for LeBron.
I am rooting for LeBron.
So you cannot celebrate an injured, battered Lakers team getting beaten in 5 without 2 of their 3 best players.
We'll see what the audience says.
Nobody likes that character.
People love that
Nobody
character.
likes the gentleman, where you're swirling your apple juice pretending it's scotch. Nobody likes
But
it.
if they go 6 games, it's not going to feel great, but it's a little victory for the Lakers.
Yes, if they force a game 6, yes.
It's a little victory.
Then you got to get Luka out there. Like AD came out that one time for no reason. Just like limping around. Like, I'm here, everybody. Like,
Well, remember, Aaron Gordon played Game 7 on what appeared to be like a torn hamstring.
Unbelievable.
That was ridiculous.
Guess what? Haunted him into the next year.
Yeah, that's a good
I wouldn't do that with Luka.
Head to Milwaukee, where reports are that Doc is, quote, departing and stepping down and is out. We're not using the word fired, okay? Maybe he takes a front office consulting job. All right.
That's what he was before he was in.
That's right.
Remember? He's like, I got an idea for head coach.
Adrian Griffin was going 30 and 13, which wasn't good enough.
Doc, they went 30 and 52, right, this year? And Doc and Adrian Griffin got fired.
Doc is 97 and 103.
Yeah, but I think this year their final record was 30 and 52. Adrian Griffin went 30 and 30.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Giannis was asked about his future. Here's what Giannis said about returning to the Bucks. Very good question. I don't know. It's not up to me. We'll see. What's next for Giannis in the Bucks?
Go ahead, bro.
I like Giannis.
Me too.
But, get out, Giannis. Just make the trade demand public. If he goes back to the Bucks next year, I want to declare a moratorium.
I think that's
We're
fair.
done talking about Giannis leaving. Then, I know an extension maybe would be in play, but unless the Bucks are good, we should declare a moratorium.
Just like we're not going to cover like Giannis implores Kyle Kuzma to lock in.
Yeah, it's just it is at this point the team needs to trade him. You have Giannis and you're terrible, okay? And it's better for him to go elsewhere. Now, Nick, here's the thing that they have to be concerned about. I think they've waited too long.
Yes.
Because he's 31 years old. He's coming off his worst injury season of his career. Played, 36 games? The last couple of playoff outings, he's missed a few. Like last year, let me put it this way. This year, they don't make the playoffs. The last 4 years, I believe, they've gone out in the first round. A couple years ago in 2024, he was injured, played 3 of the 5 games in the playoffs. I think the last time they were in the playoffs, he may have missed a game. It's like he has been banged up over the last few years. So now I don't think you get as much as you would have gotten maybe at the trade deadline or last summer or something like that. So would Houston give up Şengün, Reed Shepherd, and picks?
Yes.
Now that could help. If not, that could help a Golden State or New York Knicks maybe get in there and get him. But I'm not sure they're going to get as much as they would have earlier by trading him.
Listen, I think both parties have handled this immaturely. And I almost wanted to use the word unprofessional, but I don't mean it in the traditional sense. I mean unprofessional, almost unadult. Like, part of being an adult and part of being in business is tough decisions and recognizing that sometimes in life you can't have everything and you need to decide on your own what is most important to me. And it feels to me like the Bucks and Giannis refuse to do that themselves. And I put as much, everybody focuses on why Giannis should demand a trade. I think just as much blame goes to why the Bucks, he doesn't have a no trade, why the Bucks didn't just execute a trade or, do this on their own. But both of them seem like they feel like, well, we want Giannis to be a Buck for life and we want to compete for championships. Those two things, it's like saying I want to play in Milwaukee and I want to live on the beach. They're in conflict. You can't do it. And the fact that in this press conference he was asked about signing the extension and he was like, well, I'd have to consider it. I do not feel like he is handling this as if professional basketball is his job. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's your job, man. And we all would love everything about our job to be perfect. Right. And for some people, there was a period of time where it was, and that's probably what makes it so hard. He loved Milwaukee, and he was winning MVPs, and they were contending for titles. Everything was great. But now it's none of those things. And what I would say is, I do think it feels like his value is slowly going down. The playoffs can make teams, all of a sudden do rash things. And I'm not saying trading for Giannis would be a rash decision, but a team that maybe otherwise was like, no, we like our young players, we like what we're building. I'll give you the team that I've been saying has the best trade package for Giannis, Atlanta. Atlanta right now, this moment, is probably like, man, think about what we can be next year, like what we were the second half of the year. Let Atlanta, if they were to, I'm not even predicting this would happen, just get smoked by the Knicks. 4-0 or 4-1 with a few blowouts in there. Then all of a sudden they might be like, all right, we're not as close as we wanted to believe we were. Like what you're saying about Houston. Let Houston lose to the Lakers. And again, I don't think that's going to happen, but they might all of a sudden be like, everyone's available. And so maybe Milwaukee comes out the other side of this, but at this point, if I'm the Bucks, I'm not that concerned about what Giannis wants.
No.
And I know they feel like they have to offer him that max extension. I don't feel that way. I feel like they have to pay him what his contract is, and they have to do what's best for the team, which is to trade him for the best package available.
It's another year of one of the marquee faces of the NBA sitting and watching the playoffs, or at least deep into the playoffs. It feels like a long time ago we were saying, what's failure? I'll be back next year. I guess not.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.